How's it going, friends? My name is Fringy and welcome to System Update for the week's gaming news and discussion. After an article was published by Eurogamer regarding an Xbox One performance boost, Xbox head Phil Spencer confirmed that in June the Xbox One would in fact be receiving a performance boost. A Microsoft rep stated that a June update would allow developers the ability to access the GPU previously reserved for fucking Kinect, which gives them up to 10% more horsepower. No matter whose side you're on, this is good news. It really is, because it means that the gap will be closed, and it means that no matter what platform you choose, the difference will be lesser. However, how close the difference will be now, I don't know. And I'm not gonna say how much I think it will be, but there are a lot of people online saying, oh, now it's gonna close the gap significantly and they're gonna be on par with the PS4. Xbox One and PS4 will be nearly identical. No, it just won't happen. Even though this is a 10% performance boost, which will be noticeable, the parts in the PS4 are simply better. It doesn't matter how many updates they give to the Xbox One, or if DirectX 12 really makes all the difference, the PS4 will always be superior graphically and for performance. It's just the fact of the matter, the parts are simply better. And while they'll be optimizing for the Xbox One, they're still going to be optimizing for the PS4. So, the gap will always be there. However, this will lower the gap by a noticeable margin. Not significantly, like I've seen in all these fucking articles online, where they're pretty much trying to damage control and say, oh, it's going to be nearly the same, significantly. It's really fucking not. But I think what this confirms to me, and what makes me happy, is that this means Kinect is dead. Kinect is fucking done. If people are going to be accessing that more horsepower, you're not going to be able to use the Kinect. Plain and simple. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's a fucking good thing. Because people have already said time and time again, we do not give a fuck about Kinect. Nobody gives a fuck about it. And the people who say they do, I can't see I can't even see how you can find value in the Kinect. It's $100 more. It's fucking useless. Nobody fucking wants it. And when they drop the Kinect in June, it's gonna boost sales. And this is gonna help the sales of the system to a small degree. Because what you gotta remember is that the regular audience, not the people who are really into gaming and are always reading articles and things like that, probably don't give that much of a fuck which one has better graphics. All they care about is like, does it have the games I want to play? So for some people it might be Halo or something like that. Or, you know, I've been playing Xbox since the 360, so I'm a gamer, so I better stick with Xbox. That people normally do. That's how I see it. So this is good for Microsoft. It shows that Phil Spencer doesn't have his head up his ass and is actually on the ball as opposed to previous management. And it proves that they know that the Kinect is a piece of shit that nobody fucking wants. And that's good, because it's gonna boost sales. Now, what Microsoft has to do is bring it at E3 and show that they've got the games to boot. Because while there's no Kinect, games fucking matter. And I'm saying that to all three of them, honestly. Capcom announced today that Deadrising 3 will be making its way to PC very soon, after shipping 1 million copies for the Xbox One. It's coming with all those fucking Steam achievements and shit, but what's most interesting is that it will have improved graphics over the Xbox One version. Was this expected for Deadrising 3 to come to PC? I'd say so. I mean, this is Capcom we're talking about here. A company that is in such financial shit that they need to make money back fast. They have such a small amount of money in their bank that they need to make money. And so that's when I saw Deadrising 3 announced as an Xbox One exclusive, I was like, what the fuck is this? I thought they needed money. Maybe Microsoft was throwing enough money at them to do this, but they did say it sold 1 million copies, which isn't shabby for a launch title. You know, we gotta be real there. That's pretty damn good for a launch title. However, when you're developing a game, exclusives typically need to sell more than, say, a multi-plat would on one system. Because if you've got an exclusive that sells 1 million copies, and then you've got a multi-plat that sells 1 million copies on that platform, but then sells on other platforms, they're making more money, right? So when you have exclusives, it's always more risky, and they really need to sell well. Otherwise, you know, it's pretty much not worth it. But exclusives really serve the purpose of bringing people into the system, especially launch exclusives. Because, really, you got nothing else to play that you couldn't just play on previous generation consoles. So, it kind of makes sense to me that this is coming to PC, because I've probably still got some sort of deal with Microsoft where it's like, yeah, you can't put it on the PS4, but, you know, PC's okay, even though PC's not really the same fucking thing. But this is good for me, because it means I can get Deadrising 3. Because, of course, you got the rig down here to play it on. What I'm interested in is the fact that it's going to have improved graphics over the Xbox One version. Now, yeah, the Xbox One is less powerful, but the game ran like shit on the Xbox One, at least from all the benchmarks and all the gameplay I saw. Fucking dropping into the fucking 20s. And the game didn't even look that good, and it wasn't even in 1080p. I mean, how the fuck does that even happen? Yes, I know there are a lot of zombies on screen and all that sort of nonsense, but really, it really didn't necessitate that performance, at least in my mind. So, what I'm hoping is that when they port this to PC, they'll actually do a good port. Because we've seen a lot of shit ports over the last couple of months on PC, which blows my mind when PC gaming has become more profitable than console gaming. There's clearly a market, as represented by the shit tons of people who are PC gamers on the internet. I don't understand why you would half-ass the port. I'm not saying Capcom will do it, but this is Capcom we're talking about here. A company that's in the shit and are really just greedy fucking scumbags on the whole. They milk everything. So I'm hoping that they're going to do a good PC port, but we'll have to wait and see. Ubisoft announced that Watch Dogs sold over 4 million copies during its first week. This makes Watch Dogs the most successful new IP at launch. Now, this is good news for Ubisoft. It is. They've made this IP over the course of 5.5 years apparently, which I'm a bit edgy on that, but hopefully they're going to make a return off of it, because if you put that many resources into the game, it should be good. However, there have been a lot of problems with this game at launch. Uplay has been a fucking mess. I've luckily not really had any problems with Uplay, but I've known some people who haven't been able to redeem their game. They haven't been able to redeem their game through Uplay. Those are fixed now, but, I mean, that's fucking terrible. And not only that, but the performance is shit. Like, I've said on many occasions that the performance is shit. And get this right, essentially it's because of GameWorks, which I'm so split on whether GameWorks is good or not for PC games. But in Watch Dogs' case, it really fucked AMD, which is what I'm on. In fact, my old 660 was getting similar performance to my R9 290. That's how bad the optimization was. That is crazy, and that is fucking ridiculous. But Watch Dogs is a good game, and it makes sense to me that it sold 4 million copies because it was a really hyped up game. Now, I've seen people saying, oh, why didn't it sell better than that? I mean, come on guys, it's a new IP. Even though it was marketed to shit and most people know what it is, there are always going to be the bro dudes who make up most of the fucking people on, you know, a lot of these platforms who would be like, no, just get Call of Duty, Madden, 2K. So even though Watch Dogs did have this massive marketing campaign, it kind of makes sense to me that it sold 4 million copies. And this is only an opening week. And saying only is really not doing it justice. 4 million copies for a new IP is very good. I mean, Ubisoft said themselves that it makes Watch Dogs the most successful new IP at launch. However, they still have to catch up to Assassin's Creed lifetime sales of 6 million for the first game. I think they will though. If you sell 4 million in your first week, you're still going to be selling shit tons of copies later down the line. So this is good news for Ubisoft. Unfortunately, it means that they're going to start milking Watch Dogs like they did with Assassin's Creed. But this is Ubisoft we're talking about here, so what do we expect? That's it for System Update this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.